Hey guys, welcome back to another Startaloo Bootcamp. Very excited to have you join us today. We have an amazing guest who we met, I think, the first time, really just a couple weeks ago. Like we met like face to face anyway, maybe through email we had talked. And she was telling me some of the things that she's been doing in her office. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is amazing. Not only was my hand hurting by how many notes I was taking down from our conversation, but I was like, people have to hear this. This is like so ahead of the curve. So I am super excited to have Nancy Hyman with us today. Thank you so much for joining us on our bootcamp session.
You're welcome. Thank you for the nice introduction. Well, I was getting rather desperate. I've been in our orthodontic practice for 25 years with my husband, Dr. William Hyman, and I've been managing all the marketing and practice growth systems. And so it occurred to me that I was spending a lot of time with spreadsheets and nagging the staff. So I was really happy to find Startaloo. But part of Startaloo is answering the phone in the first place, following those leads. And I know that you've talked about that a lot. So I would like to share a PowerPoint very casually. Do people have the ability to put questions in, Dr. B?
They do. We're gonna get to that. I'll let everybody know. Yeah, they can just write on the chat feature there. But yeah, I think what you're doing is just so amazing, and it's something that we all need to hear. And it really kind of brings together a lot of what we had discussed on this program in the past. So thank you so much for being here. And you know, we've titled it "Patient Leads: How to Obtain and Follow Up in the COVID era." Sorry. So this is part of our Startaloo Success Bootcamp series. You know, the idea is that we would give people concepts and ideas that they would then be able to actually put to practice, largely through our software, but also through other means. And we will be changing focus a little bit on Wednesday when we're going to start doing some in-depth training sessions. So rather than doing a boot camp on Wednesday, we've got a lot of requests from people asking us, you know, how to do some of the more in-depth aspects of our software. So Wednesday, I'm going to be joined by Kristen, our Director of Operations. A lot of you know Kristen, and we're going to be showing people, you know, how to use the software to really leverage it to help boost your practices now that we're starting to actually get back. So that is open for anybody who uses our software. If you're interested in seeing, you know, what our software can do, anyone can join us for that. So that'll be on Wednesday at 4 o'clock Eastern. And so, Nancy, I don't know if you want to, I can turn the screen over to you, and then you can go ahead and show us what you got in your PowerPoint presentation.
Happy to do that. So I'll just go here. All right. All right. Do you see that okay, Dr. B?
It says you're, yeah, there we go. There we go. I got my pen ready again because I'm going to take notes.
Well, I'll tell you, the good news is, Dr. B, and anyone who's listening or anyone who's watching later on, is that at the end, I have my contact information and I will send everybody notes. And I've taken really, really thorough notes for you, although I encourage you to take notes as well. I've had the pleasure of working in orthodontics for 25 years, and it's been great. And I've also worked with hundreds of other offices throughout the country. I no longer visit offices, but I am compiling everything I've learned and a lot of mistakes I've made too into a downloadable book. And you're going to have a chapter in that book because Startaloo has really saved us. So I want to thank you very much for that. So let's jump in. We've got a lot to talk about. Hold on just a moment, please. I'm trying to move my screen. Hold on just a minute.
Sometimes it can be a little tricky with the Zoom being up there.
Yeah, it's not moving, and it moved in the test. Excuse me, audience, just a minute, please. There we go.
There we go.
Okay, so I'll be doing it here. Yeah, there. All right, there we go. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so I want to thank you very much for having me. The wealth of information, I'm on almost every single one of these, and I'm watching the recorded ones if I'm out of town or not able to get to it, have been fabulous. I'm really looking forward to Kristen's presentation on Wednesday because she has been enormously helpful. We've brought staff in here and there, and she has been so great. She has done 3 trainings for us based on who's in and who's out during this odd and bizarre time. So I want to thank you very, very much for that. I see 3 scenarios for coming back into business. Business is closed, of course, and opening in May or June. Those are the first 2 scenarios. Those are ideal. And of course, I want May. I want to be as soon as possible. And schools not reopening until fall. Now, I'm noticing and reading across the country, some schools are going to reopen in July, so we're going to miss that summer crush. That's why I'm talking today. I want you to avoid needing that summer crush in order to make your year. My goal in this conversation today is that by the end of the year, you've had a great year. Yeah, it's not going to look great. Of course, now our production is 0 for April, but it's going to get there. What I'm hoping doesn't happen is that we'll be open in May or June across the country. I'm addressing everybody listening, and school reopens right away. Okay, that's what we don't want, but we don't have control over that. So those are the scenarios that we're looking at and planning for those.
I just to let you know, I'm in New York. You said you're about 15 miles outside, or 15 minutes outside of LA.
Yeah, Los Angeles. Mm-hmm.
Los Angeles, yeah.
Yep.
In New York, they've closed schools for the rest of the school year, so we're looking at a fall opening.
That's fantastic. We might reopen in July, and I would actually love to hear from other people as to when they think they'll be reopening. So my goal in our practice and in your practice, Dr. B, and anyone who's listening, is that you want to create leads and create a lead response system, and then continue that system after we're up and fully running. We cannot do business as usual. I think we've all agreed that this is a whole new era for us. And I want to turn it into a win-win for everybody. And I do think that I've talked to so many people, including Dr. B, that this is a great opportunity to set up all these systems. So today, really what I'm talking about is setting up the system so that you are ready to rock and roll. And receiving leads now as well. Part 1, establish lead contact systems. Get your system in place first. Part 2, we're going to talk, and it's only, I think, 1 or 2 slides, but it's how to create leads. So we're going to linger on that second to the last slide and really, really talk about creating leads. That's going to be a very important discussion here. So part 1 is our lead system. What do we do with leads? We are going to establish our lead contact systems. So we've got intake, the lead comes in, respond to it, which means book that initial exam. Mm-hmm. Now, it may not happen. There may be no response to the text you send, no response to the phone call, no response to the email. Well, however you're contacting immediately, and I like a phone call and text immediately, that may not happen. And that's when you put them into Start-A-Loo. So your follow-up protocol, what's not booked? Not booked goes into Start-A-Loo. I spent 3 years having my own little Start-A-Loo here, Dr. B. And, they're really nagging that staff. Have you done? So we had all the Excel spreadsheets, and I'm happy that we are throwing those out of that computer. I'm just delighted. So the point of this slide is that as the lead comes in, you want an almost instantaneous response to it. And we're going to be talking about that. And I believe you've talked about that as well.
We have. And what I love about your approach, and from talking to you, you've managed to do this all throughout your career, and a lot of practices, and I'm probably guilty of this, maybe didn't, is how much you value every lead. Now that things have flipped, where we don't have maybe as many leads coming in, the value of that lead goes up, right? If the value of the lead was here before, now it's up here because we're not going to have as many coming into our practice. And so that's why this is such an important thing for everyone to hear, is because every lead that comes in now has got to be, cherished, because you're just not going to have the volume of new patients calling your office. And what you're talking about and what you've set up is a system to make sure every single lead that comes in is getting the highest level of customer service possible. So that's what's so great about what you've done.
Thank you. Correct. Well, it dovetails into Start-A-Loo perfectly. That was my missing link. Yes, as the leads come in, we'll be talking about that. How do I respond almost immediately, if not immediately? And I know I've had discussions with many people. As an example, for those of you who are doing Facebook and Instagram leads, they're weak leads. They just are. We might get 100 leads and get 5 to 10 people in. I mean, that's a weak lead. Now, having said that, guess what? They're all starting, which is fantastic. So by using Start-A-Loo and by using virtual consults for these people, that combination, we believe, will ramp that up quite a bit. So we're really excited about that. Now, what's your staffing during the closure? And you may not be closed for much longer. It might be a week, 2 weeks, it might be a month, depending on your area. And this is within the doctor's discretion and capability, financially and other issues. Can you staff? Do your staff need to stay home and take care of their children who are home from school? In our office, we're doing on-site comfort appointments and virtual appointments for initial exams and active patients and retainer patients as well. Our clinical team is assisting the doctor in active patient virtual appointments, and our admin team is taking care of incoming calls and leads. And when I say leads, you're going to see way at the tail end, most of the leads are not calling in, we're getting them in other ways, and that's what we really want to capture. It's easy to capture the lead calling in, actually. That's if you answer the phone. So that's answer the phone. That's my big suggestion. It's probably got everybody rolling their eyes, but I am going to share some ways to really ramp up that phone answering. You're going to be a little surprised at. One thing that's helped us a lot just in terms of customer service and serving our parent body is that we also during this time are responding to any request to delay payment, or if the auto pay failed, we absolutely are delaying payment if they ask.
Yeah.
A few people have asked, much to my surprise. Very, very surprised about that. We're in a low-income Hispanic community, 15 minutes east of downtown Los Angeles, and I'm shocked at how few people are asking us to delay. How about you? How's that going for you?
Same thing. I think my office manager could probably tell you better than I could, because I know she's handling a lot of those. But yeah, I think it's been less than we originally thought, and it seems to be from doctor I've talked to all across the country. It seems to be pretty universal. So it's surprising, actually.
Yeah, I'm pleased. I think I heard that through some of the AAO lectures yesterday and the day before. Oh, fantastic. Well, there's some good news there. And of course, we're going gangbusters on the insurance billing. We got about 15 or 20 checks a day. I was just...
This is the time to clean everything up, right? I mean, all that stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, that's a perfect way to clean it up and work on your business. Absolutely. So just to say what we're doing in our office as a suggestion, we are generally, when we can see patients, which is not now, we're open Tuesdays through Saturdays. That's 3 half Saturdays a month. And then Tuesday through Friday, we're open from 7:30 to 5 p.m. It's a long day. So now through this period of time, we're answering the phones from Monday through Friday from 8 to 4 p.m. And then we're transferring those phones until 7 p.m., which we do all the time, 365 days a year, till 7 p.m. And I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. On site, we're answering calls. And I'm using this word call center. I don't want you to be frightened by that. A call center simply means that you've got a space. It can be a chair. It can be a table, it can be a room, it can be all those things, and anyone who wants to talk about how to set this up, I'd be happy to talk to you. Communication tasks, that's our Startaloo. We do that in the call center. We are placing ads for Facebook and Instagram. We're shooting videos. We're taking a lot of photos of Dr. Hyman. He's shy, so this is a good time for him to do videos, and he's doing, I'd say about 5 a week, which is a record breaker for us. We're certainly doing virtual appointments. We're loving them. Comfort appointments. We do about, I would say 2 to 3 poking wires a day, I think. And then, of course, we're revising those auto payments. So that's what our day looks like. Now, call center. Test it out. Find a spot that's not at your front desk, maybe facing away from patients, in another room, in another area where they're not going to be responding to patients. And put somebody in that chair, get them with the computer, and try it out. We tested this about 3 years ago, which is when I started this. We found that one person can take about 60 incoming calls, 60% of the incoming calls. Just to give you an idea of what our practice looks like, we are one doctor practice, occasionally have an associate come in. We have about 2,000 active patients. So it's a busy practice. So I urge you to test it. Your goal here, we see that every call, every time, that's our goal. That's our goal. Now, that means answering.
Sorry,
it's funny because I do hear studies and lectures and really wonderful consultants say we don't answer the call every time, and that's something I'm really big on. I've got some little stopgap measures for that. There is one exception though, Dr. B, which I actually haven't discussed with you. In order to meet as a team, we have designated 12:30 to 1:30, 1 day a week, where we turn off the phones and meet. That has worked for us very well. We have a system of a call answering service, and I actually stay on my computer during that time and just check to see if there's anything urgent. Somebody needs to come in a half hour because they've got a poking wire, something like that. But we really needed that time for all of us to get together. And what we found is that we tried to have one person answering the phones, and then I had to repeat everything. It just didn't work. So food for thought on that. So call center goal, I want it to be very easy for any potential patients and active patients to be able to reach you. So locate a place in your office and get it set up. It's probably, I'm going to say, my top 3 best things I've ever done for the practice. Call center and extended hours. Now this sounds labor intensive, but we do pay our employees for this. And we had a lot of volunteers because a lot of people want to earn extra money. So I think you're going to be surprised if you're sitting here thinking, Nancy, nobody will ever do it. I think you are going to be surprised. We start with 1 team member in the call center, and then we transition to 2. Therefore, the reception area can become patient focused, asking for referrals, asking for testimonials on Google, etc. And the call center is call focused, incoming and outgoing calls, maybe calling a recall list as an example, observation list, and outgoing start-a-loo, working that dashboard. So we like to get start-a-loo off the front desk because we want to focus on the tasks at hand, and we like to get our incoming and outgoing calls off of that front desk. And I'm going to tell you, I was very skeptical that we'd be able to do it. I really didn't think so. And I would say 35% of our team volunteered to help with this because we are going to pay extra for that. If anybody wants to contact me on the side and talk about compensation suggestions, I'd be happy to do that. Call center lunch hour has been very helpful. So the call center team goes to lunch early, and then they go up to relieve the front office team. So that's been really good for us. With that exception of 12:30 to 1:30 on Wednesdays, we do answer through the lunch hour, and I hope that everybody's answering through the lunch hour. It can be the busiest time. Certainly somewhere between 12 and 2, people are making their calls. I know that I'm calling my hairdresser, my nail lady, all that stuff. I certainly am absolutely calling them during my lunch hour. Even though I work with my husband here, could probably get away with a few extra calls. I don't want to do that. It's a bad example, and I like to stay focused on work. So offsite, here's the trick. Transfer the phones, as an example, under normal times would be closed at 5. Transfer the calls only during the week. So even though we're not open Monday, we still come and answer the phones until 4. So Mondays between 4 and 7 p.m. calls are transferred. Tuesday through Friday between 5 and 7 p.m. calls are transferred. And we also answer texts as well. We do not transfer the calls on the weekends. We haven't found it to be necessary. We've got the text-only response on weekends, and we have a terrific gal, Amber, who answers 3 times a week. It's been enormously successful for us, 3 times a day, on Saturdays and Sundays. And she will call if there's a reason to. If the text isn't working and she needs a little more information, something like that. And also keep in mind, you want that text number to be available with your answering service, on your website, and all social media. You want it everywhere. If you want to get on our website, we are revising it right now, but you'll still see it if anyone wants to take a look at it. We've got that text number everywhere. We really want people to text us. It's been fantastic for us. So after hours phone support, this is just a little bit aside. Number 1, capturing initial exams. And yes, we do bring home a schedule of the next, say, 10 initial exams that are available. If they accidentally double book, that's okay. We'll just work with it. It is assurance for comfort appointments. If somebody's calling you at 6:30 and wants to come in at 7:30 tomorrow morning, rather than waiting until 7:30 or just showing up and being afraid they can't be seen, we can answer that right away. And yes, we would always say yes to that. Active patient questions. A lot of times we can just answer the question right there on the phone. We don't need a chart. Maybe they want to know what happens if they lost their retainer. Something very, very simple. Here's something I should have highlighted in giant yellow: circumvent problems. We have circumvented a lot of problems. Instead of them calling at 6:30, the child's in terrible pain. They don't know how to use our hotline to call Dr. Hyman, and just we can't figure it out or whatever. We can assure them, yes, we're going to call him for you. Yes, you can see us tomorrow at 7:30. So instead of getting on Google and complaining, you took care of the problem. So I love that one. Really love that one. So review. You're going to establish incoming call protocol. You've got your call center. You've got your call forwarding till I recommend 7 p.m. We're rarely getting, if we're getting a call after that, they don't really want to talk to us. Sometimes we'll get a midnight call. Well, they don't expect us to be answering at midnight, obviously. And then texting response. Texting response is 7 days a week. We really want people to get used to texting us. Establishing incoming lead protocol. Where are the leads funneled to? I'm going to cover that very extensively. Are you responding? And then place them in start alert so that we can follow up. You're connecting with patients who aren't in contract but are familiar with you, which would be your observation in between phase 1 and phase 2, and responding to initial leads. That's a really big goal here, and having all of this calling and texting and following up. Okay, so here we go. This, I've got only a few more slides, and this is the one we're going to linger on, Dr. B. These are ways to bring in those patients. I do not have patient-to-patient leads on here because generally those patients call us. So we've already covered it. We've already got the phones answered 7:30 to 7 p.m., texting anytime. So we've already covered that, and we're very comfortable with that. So we're going to be talking right now about other ways that leads come in. You've got your DDS referral card. I hope everybody's using a triplicate card where the dentist is already pre-stamped or business reply envelope, and that's sent back to you, and you circumvent waiting for the patient by calling the person directly. So we've got one person assigned to that. That would be Mary in our office. Our Facebook and Instagram ads are, there's a Facebook specifically for that, and that is through Facebook. That would not be, we don't generate that dashboard, and we check it about 5 times daily. That's probably our slowest response, and of course that needs to be our quickest response. We have one person assigned to that. I do recommend, Dr. B, only one person be assigned. So one person on the DDS referral cards. Only one person on Facebook and Instagram, because you do need to check those a lot. I'm not even sure, as I'm talking with you now, that 5 times daily is enough, because those are the more questionable. They just saw an ad and thought, hey, I'll poke on that. I've done the same thing. Missed and after hours calls. Okay, those are emailed to me. So you'll see that all the rest of them come to me, and then I disperse them as needed. So if we missed a call during the day, if all 5 of our lines are busy with attending to patient calls, we will miss that call, and that will go to our answering service, and that's immediately emailed to me. So as soon as I see that, and I check my phone continually, and I check my email continually, depending on whether I'm in the office or not, I'll go ahead and get that over to a person who can handle it right away. We also use a text widget on our website and on Facebook. That's where a person can text directly to us. I believe that's been one of the best things we've ever done. I get quite a few leads from it. Prior to COVID, that did result in 5 to 10 patient contracts per month. It's been incredible for us. And then occasionally an active patient will send us a text through our text widget. That's emailed to me as well. This is something that's set up by the systems that we've hired to help us facilitate this. And then again, I'm on the phone all the time looking for these leads. First thing I do when I get up throughout the day, and then 7 o'clock is my cutoff for this. Website forms are emailed to me. On our website, we have appointment request forms. Many people have those. Virtual consult requests, new patient quiz, all of those, again, get emailed to me. And then from there, what I go ahead and do is I either answer them directly sometimes if it's an off hour and I picked it up, I thought, well, I'll just go and take care of it, and I send them a text, or I go ahead and shoot it to the person who needs to handle it. So this slide is really the only slide we needed to talk about today, because this is the leads, in addition to setting up your call system. So remember, we're setting up the call systems, and then we're getting these leads. In general, I'll say it again, patient-to-patient leads, they call in. Mm-hmm. This is for all those other leads, and the reason why Dr. B and I decided to talk about this today is all these leads can be so easily lost during this time. Even if you only have 1 more week where you're closed, if you set this up, you're going to get a week of leads that you didn't get. We're still getting leads in. I got 2 yesterday, and they booked, I had 2 yesterday, and they booked virtual consults for today.
That's awesome.
2 more than I had if I hadn't had this, lead system here. So we're just thrilled to pieces with that. So to wrap up, all leads call and book right away because you have access to them right away. Or, of course, leave a message if you can't book. We also go ahead and send a text right away, and we jump everything into start mode. We're just throwing everything we can in there. And your goal with every lead is to see them same day, next day, virtual consult, or on-site initial exam. We use 3 coordinators for this system. I have one person that, in our case, is me, doing the responding to website forms and the text widgets 7 days a week. Our Facebook, Instagram coordinator is 7 days a week, and our DDS cards coordinator checks. She's there Tuesday through Saturday, so she makes those calls and texts. But it all goes into start a loop, and then we just follow up. We're following up a lot until they tell us no. We'll continue on. I think you probably believe that too.
Oh, yeah.
So that's that. Lots of information, of course, and just text me or email me. I've written this out as notes so that you can follow it really clearly. Do you have any questions for me, Dr. B? We went a little bit over, but there was a lot to cover.
Oh, I've got questions.
Okay.
I always have questions. No, I am telling you, when you explained this to me, I was so inspired that, I mean, we've been working around the clock to try to get caught up. I think what you've put together is just amazing.
Thank you.
You know, one of the things I actually just talked to my team about this, because we are starting to put more of this in place. And I said, you know, coming off of this whole thing, this whole COVID-19 shutdown, you know, people are at a higher level of anxiety. I think, you know, it's whether it's their job, their health, just the concern of being out. And I don't think people are going to have the level of patience to be put on hold, to have to be called back, especially if they haven't been seen for 2 months. And so, I don't think we have a large window to not get this right. I think we really, you know, I hope everybody who's watching, and I know myself, and, you know, if you're from my team, you understand why I've been trying to work so hard at putting this together, because, you know, when we get back, people are going to expect to be heard, they're going to expect to be seen, and we got to make sure we're fielding it. And you've done that, I mean, through all these different channels. I think it's just amazing. Why don't you tell me a little bit, you know, you had talked a little bit some of the technology that you're using for the web widget. You mentioned one, you know, that you're using a company that worked really well for you. You mentioned that you used another company for your call center. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the platforms that you're using?
Is that okay with you? Yes, I would like to share.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have no financial, you know, interest in any companies, but I think that people should hear what's working for you so they can check them out.
Absolutely. Well, I'm using a couple things. Number one, I'm using Podium, just like it sounds. And by the way, I have the secret email for the best prices. So I will put that in. Just text me or email me, because I found the guy. Because they go up and down if you're at the show and the show special. And and I said, okay, enough of that nonsense. If I'm going to say your name, you need to give me the secret email. So I got the guy. And I like Podium for 2 reasons. First of all, it's a widget and actually now it's a couple different types of things. It's a widget where they can dial your main number and text. They can text from your main number too. So we've got a text number, and then we've got the main number, and the widget, they can it's fantastic. I don't know the technicalities of it. That's not my area. I just know that people get on our website or Facebook, send us a text, and I get it like that. And then from there, I shoot it to the right people. Now, there is a Podium dashboard, but I don't want to count on the staff to look at that all the time.
Right.
They're busy. We're all busy. We're not going to check 4 or 5 dashboards all the time. That's why it may sound a little crazy, but that's why everything basically comes to me, and then I shoot it out to who needs it. I think that it sounds like it's labor intensive, but actually it's not. I'm not getting 100 leads a day. I'm getting a couple a day. Of course, I'm thrilled with a couple a day, but it's time-wise, it's great. And when all 5 of our lines ring more than 4 times, we have what's called Ruby. Are you familiar with Ruby? Ruby's fantastic. They take a message as if they are in our office, and it really does sound like it. I've tested them, and they really do sound like they work for Dr. Hyman. They're extremely professional, and they answer for about, 15, 20 hours a day. I mean, there's, if somebody calls at midnight, okay, maybe not, but it's fantastic. And then what happens with that is then sent to me again in an email, and they let me know if it's urgent. And it's got everything I need, including the person's cell number and the name. I mean, and who took the call, if I have a question. It's been extremely good. So, and by the way, with Podium, going back to that for just a moment, that has increased our 5-star Google reviews by almost 200 more than when I started it 6 months ago. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Just unbelievable. I can't say enough about it. So if everybody sets up a call system, a system to constantly check your leads, starts Podium for the texting and the Google reviews, which I just love, and the Ruby for calls you'll miss. There's going to be a time you're going to miss, especially, goodness, I'm thinking next week that you're really going to miss it. You know, as we open up, oops, we're going to miss a lot of calls. And if you get Start a Loop to follow up if they didn't book on the spot. So if you do all that, I feel strongly I can guarantee you a good 10 to 20 extra starts a month, because that's what's happened with us.
Yeah.
I feel very strongly about that.
Yeah, I believe it. Just the level of customer service that you're putting out is just amazing.
Thank you.
What I love about it. Do you have text messages go to your voice over IP system, or is it something that's being sent to a cell phone that your call center is holding?
A lot of people are using that big word you just said.
Or something like that?
Yeah, voice over, I think it's VoIP. VoIP, yeah. Yeah. That's how I call it anyway. VoIP.
VoIP, exactly.
VoIP, yeah. Yeah, a lot of people use it. I think it's great. We've been using a cell phone for 3 years, and they're very, very comfortable with it and carrying it. So it's just been great for us. I'm all for moving on to the next thing. I think it's fantastic. But it's not necessarily, depends on the comfort level of your staff. And our team, they love their cell phone. They've been very happy with it, and it's just been great for us. By the way, a little aside, you do want to have someone checking that cell phone. We had that in the call center at least every hour during regular hours, because patients are texting at that time too, or even potential patients. We had one potential patient do the whole consultation call via text because she didn't want to talk to us. She started. It was great.
I think that's going to be more common going forward. I mean, you know, yeah. Like I'll ask my daughter, I'm like, hey, you know, did you call your friends? Like, no, you know, I'll just text them. Like, just call.
Oh, of course.
But that's the next generation, and they're not even going to know how to talk anymore. It's all going to be just texting.
Well, and with the texting, we find that most people are able to text during office hours when they're working, but they can't be on the phone.
Right.
No, that's another way to communicate with everybody.
That's a good point. Last question I have is, you know, for somebody who's maybe watching and thinking, okay, so there's a little bit of a lift to get all this into place. And, you know, someone can be overwhelming. And like I said, we're working on that now, and there's a lot of pieces coming together. Do you have any recommendations when you're trying to, I don't want to say pitch it to your team, but, you know, when you're trying to tell the team, like, there's a reason we're doing all this. Would you have any advice on how to script that so that, you know, you can get everybody to buy in?
That's a good point. And I was really worried as we incorporated these things. So let's say you're going to incorporate a few things: the call center, the after hours being transferred to a cell phone, texting received 7 days a week, and then working that Startaloo dashboard, and then the person with the leads coming in. What you might want to do, I want everybody to be on board with the ideas, but I probably have a smaller group. We are a group of 3, and that would be myself, 4. We do have another person sharing the phone. So it would be myself with the leads coming in. I disperse them, A. B, Amber and Yari share the cell phone and take care of the after hours calls and the text, and they are paid very nicely for that. It's absolutely worth it because their consistency has been fabulous. And then of course you got the Startaloo dashboard. So if you start by explaining, and the call center needs to be set up. If you start by explaining these 4 strategies, and then maybe start with ones, probably the call center and Startaloo, because those are actually, I'm going to say, easy. Kristen made it easy for us. I have to say, you need to give her a raise. Don't tell her, maybe I should. Kristen, are you watching? No, she's fabulous. So if you can start with 1 or 2 And I think there's two things. I would explain it to everybody. Yes, I agree with you. Everyone wants to be on board. And that might be in one of your, say, Thursday meetings or a marketing meeting that you're having. It can't be just a morning huddle. There's too much. It's too confusing. But get the core team who's going to actually be implementing and be working closely with them. I'm in close communication via text and email, well, 7 days a week, and reward those people. Absolutely reward them. And I can talk with any doctors who want to ask me what we do. And it depends on your state laws and so forth. We have a bonus system related to it that's just been fabulous. So there's that. How would I say? I want everybody to be on board.
Yeah. So,
and you know what, Dr. B, my husband and I are 60 something. If we're old dogs, if we can do it, that constant evolution has nothing to do with age. Absolutely.
Something tells me you have more energy than
I do.
So I don't think that's a fair statement. I will say too, just as we kind of wrapping up, I mean, this is for anybody thinking of doing like the call center, there probably couldn't be a better time to try to do it, because if you're trying to social distance, I mean, I know I'm going to have a number of people working remotely, and we're trying to take what we've done and institute a lot of what you've talked about and make it more like a call center, because I'd rather than be home than be in the office. It's just less bodies in the office. So this is actually a great time to be trying to pull it off and put all the pieces together. And then
really good.
And who knows when we come back. What's that?
Absolutely. And I heard several webinars, I'm sure that you have as well, where doctors talking about a very valuable staff member was leaving or needed to stay home for XYZ reason. And so you could do this off-site, absolutely. No question.
Yeah, very cool. I'm going to grab the screen here.
All righty.
And let me see here. So, again, as we're going through this series and we're transitioning a little bit on Wednesday, we are going to be talking a little bit more about how to use the Starter Loop platform. There's a lot of deeper features that, during your training session, that a lot of times practices don't get into. And that's really what's helped me and help other people to help grow their practice. So we're going to be transitioning a little bit from our bootcamp series to more of a instructional webinar. We'll do that on Wednesday. We'll have Kristen on. And like you said, Kristen's awesome. So she's going to be able to kind of work through how she uses it. Also, a lot of people, I don't know if you're aware, Kristen was a treatment coordinator. And so she has a lot of that background. So she can talk a little bit about that. That's an invitation to everybody. Anybody who's on the system, your teams, come check it out. And we'll talk about a little bit more on how to use some of the deeper functions. And I have to say thank you so much, Nancy, for coming on and doing this. Like I said, I found it inspiring when you first told me when we first talked, and I'm like equally as inspired now. Like I'm literally going to get off the phone and keep cranking along with what I'm trying to put together to get my systems in place. This is your email and your phone number you offered. So this is the best way for people to get in touch with you.
Yes, I'd love to send an outline of everything we talked about today, and then even a little more detail so you can incorporate. I would love every practice, they would all benefit from. I'd love every practice to incorporate this. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I agree. And again, it's just good customer service, and that's just what it comes down. That's what we all have to be focused on right now.
Correct.
So thank you again so much for being on. I really, really appreciate it, and appreciate all that you're bringing and doing, and just your energy and what you're bringing is so inspiring. So thank you. And I don't know, I look forward to seeing everybody on Wednesday. And Nancy,
I'll be there.
And good luck opening up.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, Nancy.
Thanks. Bye-bye.